corporate fraud, the former chief of ImClone indicted. Among the charges, insider trading, and new revelations that another former CEO may have had his company pick up the tab for his lavish lifestyle. The vice president, Dick Cheney, surfaces and talks publicly about business scandals, Iraq, and running in 2004. Lifeline, that full feeling. Scientists zero in on a hormone that tricks the brain into saying, no thanks, I've had enough. And Gold Mine, how one man turned a centuries-old masterpiece into his personal money machine, until now.
From NBC News, world headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Substituting tonight, Matt Lauer.
Good evening. Another high-profile executive is under indictment tonight in another corporate fraud scandal, the one that's put some tarnish on the sterling image of lifestyle guru Martha Stewart. He is Samuel Waxel, the founder and former CEO of biotechnology company ImClone. He's been trying for a plea agreement for several weeks now, but today, prosecutors threw the book at him. Here's NBC's Ann Thompson.
Truth and nothing but the truth.
Sam Waxel, the former ImClone CEO and longtime friend of Martha Stewart, accused of bank fraud, perjury, obstruction of justice, and insider trading. The 13-count indictment focuses on his attempt to sell ImClone stock after learning the Food and Drug Administration was about to reject its cancer colon drug, Erbitux.
Waxel is accused of tipping off his father and daughter to sell their stock and trying to sell his own shares through his daughter's account on December 27th of last year, the day before the government's rejection became public.
The indictment also claims Waxel directed others to destroy certain documents and to delete certain computer files after learning of the government's investigation. In a statement this evening, Waxel's attorney said his client is presumed innocent and will respond to the charges as required. The indictment makes no mention of Martha Stewart, herself the target of investigations into whether she had inside information about ImClone. Stewart also sold her ImClone stock on December 27th. Stewart called Waxel minutes after she sold the stock, but has consistently maintained she did nothing wrong. Waxel is expected to be arraigned in the next few days. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
And there is new information tonight about another former CEO, Tyco's Dennis Kozlowski, already under indictment for allegedly evading taxes on expensive works of art. Now charges that he pocketed $135 million of company money, largely to finance his luxurious lifestyle. Here's NBC's Lisa Myers.
4 years ago, Tyco CEO Dennis Kozlowski moved into this new 15,000-square-foot waterfront mansion in Florida. Pool, tennis court, the works. How'd he pay for it? With a $19 million zero-interest loan from his company. Then 2 years later, the $19 million loan was forgiven, and Tyco kicked in $13 million more to pay Kozlowski's personal taxes. A Tyco spokesman said today the board was unaware of all this until a recent internal investigation. It's all now part of a criminal investigation into allegations first reported by the Wall Street Journal that some $135 million in Tyco funds were used by Kozlowski largely to finance his extravagant lifestyle.
Well, paints a very disturbing portrait of corporate greed and excess, and quite frankly, it's the type of evidence that prosecutors live for.
Among the allegations, the company funds helped pay for this $5 million beachfront home on Nantucket Island, for upkeep on Kozlowski's world-class racing yacht, the Endeavor, paid for half a $2 million junket to Sardinia, including a birthday party for Kozlowski's wife, the entertainment, Jimmy Buffett. And the Tyco spent $29 million to buy and decorate an apartment on New York's Fifth Avenue with expensive art and a $6,000 gold and burgundy shower curtain. How could a shower curtain cost $6,000?
It could cost $6,000 because if you fall in love with a fabulous fabric that is $500 a yard and you need 10 yards minimum, there you are.
Tyco could have gotten a much better deal for its shareholders by going to any linen store. Here, shower curtains run $30 to $165. For $6,000, Kozlowski could have gotten 3 dozen of the high-end models.
Revelations about Kozlowski's lavish living don't play well with Tyco workers in South Carolina, whose retirements have been devastated as the company's stock plummeted.
This person's, concerned on furnishing his home And here in Rock Hill, we're concerned about everyday life, paying our everyday bills.
Kozlowski's lawyers did not return repeated calls today, but a spokesperson told the Wall Street Journal that Kozlowski relied on subordinates to be sure his personal expenses weren't paid by the company, and denies using his company as a personal piggy bank. Lisa Myers, NBC News, Washington.
In the midst of all this, the president was in Mississippi, the backyard of bankrupt telecom giant WorldCom, saying fear and fraud will not undermine the economy. And for the first time in weeks, the vice president was speaking out on the business scandals and the state of the economy as well. Here's NBC's Campbell Brown.
After more than 2 months of avoiding the media and all questions about his former role as CEO of Halliburton, the vice president explains for the first time today why he can't talk. The ongoing Securities and Exchange Commission investigation of Halliburton's accounting practices.
There are editorial writers all over America poised to put pen to paper and condemn me for exercising undue improper influence if I say too much about it.
Spoofed on Saturday Night Live for his ultra-low profile after 9/11.
I've been off in an undisclosed location.
The vice president has recently again been underground, hamstrung, both Democrats and Republicans say, by the Halliburton investigation. When the president signed the corporate responsibility bill, for example, Cheney was in Iowa at a fundraiser, and he was a no-show at the most recent cabinet meeting where reporters were hoping to finally question him.
He's obviously a potentially explosive personality, given the focus on corporate accounting problems.
That was evident today, even as the vice president addressed a friendly audience. His remarks on the economy interrupted by chanting protesters. But Cheney's advisors deny his low public profile has anything to do with outbursts like this or Halliburton.
The vice president is not in pursuit of a high profile. The vice president is in pursuit of putting in place policies for the president.
And White House sources say his influence behind the scenes remains unprecedented, especially on foreign policy, whereas Cheney himself made clear today he is a major advocate of removing Saddam Hussein.
Left to his own devices, it's the judgment of many of us that in the not-too-distant future he will acquire nuclear weapons.
And his efforts on behalf of the Republican Party are second only to President Bush. His trip to California today included a fundraiser, one of more than 40 he attended this year for Republicans, raising more than $12 million.
The vice president did say today he has every intention of staying on the ticket in 2004. The public, though, may not see much of him in the next month. While the president vacations here in Texas, Cheney will spend August in Jackson, Wyoming. Campbell Brown, NBC News, Crawford.
On Wall Street today, a surge of buying in the last hour sent the markets up across the board. The Dow gained 182 points. The NASDAQ was up more than 21 points. Another confirmed case of West Nile virus tonight, this one in Alabama. The Centers for Disease Control says the virus has now been found in mosquitoes and birds in more than 30 states. The best way to avoid infection is to avoid mosquito bites. But as NBC's Don Teague reports, old habits are apparently hard to break.
Standing on a bayou ditch near Baton Rouge.
All my life, I've been in the woods and in the swamp.
67-year-old Bill Desatel, unprotected and unconcerned about mosquitoes.
The best fishing times of the day is when the mosquitoes are the worst.
Gone fishing during the worst outbreak of West Nile virus in U.S. history.
If I get the West Nile virus, well, that might change things, but as long as I don't get it, I'm not changing anything.
Attitudes change slowly in the South, where mosquitoes are considered a fact of life. But the facts are changing fast. 5 dead in Louisiana, 71 confirmed cases. Even the Centers for Disease Control isn't sure where the virus is heading next. Much depends on bird migration patterns and weather. Here in Louisiana, state health officials struggling to change lifelong habits.
There's some percentage of the population which doesn't seem to be concerned at all, and that's who we really have to reach.
The reach of the virus growing as well. In neighboring Mississippi, Bob Cloney almost died of West Nile, bitten by mosquitoes on a fishing trip.
They need to wear mosquito repellent, some kind of long sleeve shirt, bug repellent or something like that to keep the mosquitoes off of them, because it's nothing to play around with.
The best defense, mosquito repellent containing DEET and long sleeve clothing. Another big part of the problem, people who are protecting themselves are forgetting all about their homes. A backyard like this one could literally breed thousands of mosquitoes. More mosquito larvae days away from taking flight. Mosquito Control Inspector DeAndre Augustus fighting an uphill battle.
It's very frustrating. You go in backyards, I mean, we have things on the news every day, and you still go in the backyard, you still see the same scenario.
Some things never change in the South.
I can't spend my life doing nothing because of mosquitoes.
Where dangerous pests are as old as the land. Don Teague, NBC News, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And another summertime danger to report tonight, one that created a close call for Amtrak passengers just last week. The problem, trains derailed by extreme heat. What's the connection? Here's national correspondent Jim Avila.
The temperature on the track was 118 degrees. Amtrak's Capital Limited traveling a full 10 miles below the speed limit when it suddenly derailed, injuring 90, including Roman Cherney, on board with his 2 sons.
And it felt like we were sliding on ice, and suddenly the car started bouncing up and down, and the next thing I know, we were heading down into a ditch.
Today, sources at the National Transportation Safety Board say inspectors are looking closely at a dangerous phenomenon called sun kinks, a bend in the tracks, this time more than a foot wide, that is sometimes caused by a combination of heat, poor maintenance, and sharing of track with heavy freight trains.
I don't think the industry or the regulators have a complete understanding of the dynamics of heat kinks, and that more does need to be done.
Get that finished up, get that complete. So we got to stick a few ties.
Private railroads like CSX, which own most of the tracks Amtrak uses, regularly check for heat kinks, normally twice a week and once a day during hot weather.
It gives us a good overall view of what the track structure is.
The problem is with these new tracks. About 20 years ago, America's railroads started replacing the old 39-foot-long clackety-clack tracks with new ones that go 2,000 feet long. They're smoother, faster, and in fact, safer. But in hot weather, when steel expands, the welded tracks can be a hazard.
There's no place for the rail to go, as it were, when the steel becomes heated and expands on a hot day.
The number of total derailments has dropped dramatically since the longer welded rails have been in use. In 1980, more than 6,000 U.S. derailments, 286 injuries, and 8 fatalities. By 2000, a 2/3 drop, down to 2,100 derailments, 121 injuries, only 2 deaths. A better record, except, say experts, on hot days.
It's safer, I believe, in the long run to have the welded rail, but it does have this disadvantage.
Forcing Amtrak to slow down on hot days, keep one eye on the new track and the other on the weather forecast. Jim Avila, NBC News, Chicago.
And still ahead tonight, have scientists found the key to fighting fat in a natural hormone?
We're all looking for that magic elixir, that magic bullet that's going to, you know, just give me that one pill that's going to shed these pounds.
A hormone that curbs appetite, the new discovery that could be the key to ending obesity. And up next, in depth, in the midst of a terrible wildfire season, learning from the past to contain the damage.
Pizza! In my family, if one wants pizza, the other wants Chinese. Even their stomachs don't agree. If one gets indigestion, the other one gets heartburn. If one gets nausea, the other one gets... well, so I get Pepto-Bismol. As it coats, it relieves heartburn, indigestion, upset stomachs, nausea, and diarrhea. It'd take a box full of other medicines to do what Pepto-Bismol does. Agree?
Agree.
Pepto-Bismol, first aid for heartburn, diarrhea, nausea, indigestion, and upset stomachs.
There's hot summer savings going on now at your hometown Brand Source store. Shop today and save on name brand appliances, electronics, home furnishings, and mattresses. There are hundreds of Brand Source stores across America for your shopping convenience. For the best service, selection, and value, go to the source. Brand Source. Get hot summer savings for a limited time at your area Brand Source store. Your neighborhood appliance, electronics, and home furnishings expert.
Working hard or working out, nutrition is important. With Centrum or Centrum Silver, you benefit from what science discovers about how the right multivitamins help unlock energy and strengthen immunity. Centrum and Centrum Silver, always complete from A to Zinc.
Just a few more.
I should have used Preparation H.
Preparation H medicated wipes with aloe, the easy way to cleanse, cool, and soothe. Easier because they're 4 times bigger than Tux pads. Preparation H medicated wipes, big relief.
Cat TV again?
Whiskas knows how to get your cat's attention. New Whiskas Tender Bites, a meal finely diced into tender morsels, lightly coated in a mouth-watering gravy. They're the smaller bites with a big taste.
There. Dinner and a movie.
New Tender Bites from Whiskas. Cat people know.
NBC News in depth tonight. As one of the worst wildfire seasons goes on, a new effort to contain the damage that can happen after the fires are out. A huge challenge this year as fire officials say nearly 4 million acres have already burned this spring and summer. Now people in fire-plagued areas are trying to learn from the past to help protect the future of their land. In depth tonight, here's NBC's Roger O'Neill.
It's a race against nature's fury, part 2. A race against the mud. First come the fires. Already 4 million acres charred nationwide, almost 400,000 in Colorado. Then, with hillsides burned bare of vegetation, primed to slide, summer thunderstorms can produce devastating flash floods.
What happens when water hits the soil?
Well, it's what we call hydrophobic soil. Water will tend to bead up on it and not soak in very rapidly.
It happened 6 years ago in Colorado, Buffalo Creek.
The water was up to my neck before I could get out of the car.
After a fire, a big storm, and a mountain of mud. What officials called a 500-year flood. 2 people died. Now, at the 138,000-acre Hayman fire in Colorado, emergency work underway, building straw dams, spreading grass seed, cutting trees. An attempt to slow down, divert floodwater from a new storm. Not a question of if, but when.
There's a very real sense of urgency. The monsoon season is really upon us, and so that damaging storm could come any day.
One small downpour raised anxiety levels. A hillside washed away, covered a road under feet of sludge, and started flowing into Denver's main water supply, Cheeseman Reservoir.
That's litter from the fire. Burned bark, burned branches, burned needles.
Not enough to cause any serious damage, but with water levels already down 105 feet from the worst drought to hit Colorado in more than a century, water officials say a big, muddy flood would be serious.
The immediate threat is the ash. After the ash, then what we have to worry about is the sediment flows.
It was Colorado's biggest fire ever. $32 million to fight, 6 weeks to control. Government says it will now cost $24 million to rehab the forest and 6 years to control the threat of erosion and flash flooding. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Denver.
Next up, tricking the brain to make people eat less. And later on, fishing in the fountain, how one man turned a famous masterpiece into his personal gold mine.
3 coins in the fountain.
Hi, grape nuts, please.
You know, it takes 4 bowls of grape nuts to equal the B vitamins in just 1 bowl of total.
4 bowls. Dig in, Lumpy.
Special K, please.
That it takes 16 bowls to equal the zinc in total.
16 bowls. Eat up, sweetie.
Shredded wheat? 40 bowls to equal the calcium in total.
40 bowls. Chow down, big boy.
You need Total. It's got a 100% daily value of 12 vitamins and minerals. No other cereal comes close.
Total, please.
Total for me.
We're out of bowls.
Total Raisin Bran. What are you getting for breakfast?
When your eyes feel dry, irritated, there's Refresh brand eye drops. First, Refresh relieves and soothes, then forms a lasting shield of protection to keep irritation out and moisture in. #1 doctor-recommended Refresh relieves and protects.
Ragweed and pollen were feared by Miss Daisy. Every allergy season, her nose just went crazy. Because those ordinary tissues she used all the time made her poor little nose lose its poor little mind. Here's a tissue much softer, kind mother explained. Enchanted Puffs pillows will make your nose sane. The moral? A nose in need deserves Puffs indeed. It's back to school time, so get new Puffs designs.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's that time of year again. They're going back! It's back to school time at Staples! Over 7,000 supplies at guaranteed low prices.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
Tough heartburn? Try Extra Strength MYLANTA. Nothing's faster or more soothing than Extra Strength MYLANTA, the Liquidator.
Morning, Joe. New haircut? No. New shoes? No.
Hey, Joe. You been working out?
No.
Hey, Joe. Shave your mustache?
Nope. You sure that's not a new haircut? Yes.
Did you just get back from vacation?
No.
Did you get promotion?
No.
Did I?
No.
No.
What's different? He finally asked his doctor about Viagra. Ready to ask your doctor about Viagra for the first time? Find out if a free sample is right for you. To learn more, visit Viagra.com. Ask your doctor and see the difference.
Today's wedding plans are almost complete. Next up, dressing the mothers of the bride and groom. What's a mom to wear? Vote for your favorite by Tuesday at noon. Presented by Club White at Target.
At least 17 people have been killed in a series of explosions today in Colombia. The violence erupted just as the new president, Alvaro Uribe, was being sworn in, promising a crackdown on leftist guerrillas. Several people were injured, some of those critically. Now Lifeline, what could be new hope for those who have a hard time just saying no to more food? Scientists say they have zeroed in on a natural hormone that tells the brain the stomach is full. The new discovery could lead to new help for dieters. More now from NBC's chief science correspondent, Robert Bazell.
It is the feeling you have after a very big meal and don't want to eat again for a long time. At this lab in London, scientists have literally bottled it. They've discovered the chemical signal, the hormone, that the full stomach sends to the brain and turned it into a possible drug.
I think it's a very promising new way of regulating appetite. It's natural. You've had a rise of this hormone in your blood, causing you to feel less hungry after a meal every day of your life.
Gavin Buick and Adam Kennedy hardly need to lose weight, but they work in the lab and were among the first volunteers to try the new drug. Half the time they got it, half the time an injection of plain water, a placebo.
I didn't notice any side effects at all.
In fact, the volunteers could not even tell when they were getting the drug.
Well, we didn't actually notice any difference.
But here's the critical part. When they were sent off to the cafeteria to eat whatever they wanted, they ate 1/3 fewer calories in the 24 hours after getting the drug. This plate has 1/3 fewer calories than this one. If the average 150-pound American could eat 1/3 fewer calories, he or she would lose 1.5 pounds a week. The lab's director thinks if the drug holds up in much bigger tests, it could be available in 5 years.
All we'd be doing is giving it before you've eaten, rather than waiting for the food to release it from inside you.
A safe diet drug would be great news for millions of people like Edward Higgins, struggling to lose weight in Duke University's diet and fitness program.
We're all looking for that magic elixir, that magic bullet that's going to, just give me that one pill that's going to shed these pounds.
This latest finding is not the magic bullet yet, but it adds a lot to the growing understanding of the complex system the body uses to control appetite and weight, and the hope there will be safe and effective diet drugs. Robert Bazell, NBC News, New York.
And for more on the science of weight loss, log on to our website at msnbc.com. And just ahead, coins in the fountain, and apparently right into one man's pockets.
I like to shop every day. 8 a.m. sharp, Sal's Fruit Market. Oh, he's got the best tomatoes in town. When I started chemo, my doctor said that I might become anemic, maybe feel weak. I never expected to be too tired to make it Sal's. The day that he had to deliver my order was one of the saddest days of my life. Thank you, Sal. I asked my doctor about Procrit.
Procrit is for chemotherapy-related anemia in patients with most kinds of cancer. If you're on chemotherapy and too tired to do the things you used to do, talk to your doctor about Procrit to regain red blood cells. And more red blood cells can mean more strength.
Welcome back, Mrs. Mancini.
Procrit is proven and safe. In studies, only diarrhea and edema occurred more often with Procrit than placebo. Call now and learn how Procrit can help you get back the strength you need. Your strength for living.
Buying fresh takes a little more energy, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
I am
think they're frequent, persistent heartburn?
Just plain old heartburn.
But if you've treated your heartburn, changed your diet, and the pain still comes back 2 or more days a week, it could be from acid reflux disease.
And over time, that acid churning up can wear away the lining of your esophagus.
I didn't know.
I didn't know. Today, there's a purple pill called Nexium from the makers of Prilosec. For many people, 1 prescription Nexium a day means complete
24 hours.
day and night heartburn relief. And Nexium is also proven to heal erosions in the esophagus caused by acid reflux. Only a doctor can tell if you have this damage. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium and Prilosec are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and a free trial offer for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn. Heal the damage. It's possible with today's purple pill called Nexium.
Bottled water getting expensive. Try pure filtered water. Just as good as bottled at a price that's 10 times less. Doesn't that sound better? Pure water filters. Your water should be pure. Besides saving you money, the Pure Water filter is so easy to install and use, you already have all the tools you need. Pure Water filters. Your water should be pure.
News comes first tonight from Green Bay. A grueling day in court today for the family and colleagues of slain officers Robert Etter and Stephanie Markins as their accused killer Tyson Crucier faces the judge. And the Oshkosh teacher accused of having sex with a student makes a plea deal. These stories and more right after NBC Nightly News.
It is one of the most famous landmarks in the world, a fountain drawing dreamers who make a wish and toss a coin, hoping to someday return. Now it turns out one man has been returning to this spot nearly every day for 34 years. Not to toss money in, but to take lots of it out. Here's NBC's Patricia Sabga.
They come by the thousands. Tourists at Rome's Trevi Fountain, coins in hand. Throwing a coin over the shoulder is supposed to bring a return trip to the city, a myth made famous by the film 3 Coins in the Fountain.
If you throw a coin into the pool, you're supposed to get your wish. Only the wish must always be the same thing, that you return again to Rome.
A fountain so well known for Anita Ekberg's memorable splash in La Dolce Vita.
Marcello, come here. Hurry up.
Every city has its popular places to toss a few coins. The question is, after you make your wish, who gets the money? These days, the drama at the Trevi Fountain is all about this man, Roberto Churchioletta, an unemployed 50-year-old in the role, police say, of a real-life thief. For 34 years, he's been waiting beneath the feet of Neptune, raking up what wishful tourists toss away.